Greetings, Macadine family and listening audience. I am Camille Shabazz of Macadine International, Macadine University, affirming that all is well with you, your family, your finances, and if by chance you're having difficulty in any of those categories, I assure you with a positive attitude and a will to be successful and for your relationships to go good, eventually they will do just that. As the saying goes, persistence overcomes resistance. And there's an old saying called Murphy's Law, which states that what can go wrong will go wrong. But Macadine's law is what can go right will go right. It all depends on our personal focus. And where is your focus is the question. Where is my focus is the question. Today's topic, as you probably saw on the title, the heading, is dealing with man and emotions. Man and emotions. So powerful and so serious of a subject is the subject of emotions that there are 2 chapters in the Macadine that are devoted to emotions. Emotions part 1, which we're going to go into tonight. Emotions part 1, which says, men, engage with respect and caution. So once again, emotions are such a serious subject that 2 chapters of the Macadine is devoted to emotions. And once again, as I always state in the beginning of my small lectures, my short lectures, get the copy of the Macadine. Get your personal copy. Because although I'm the author of this book, I'm the #1 student of this book. I read and I nurse this book on some level every day as though I just purchased it myself from a store or from Amazon. And as I have told you, it is at Amazon. So get your copy today. And if by chance you can't afford a copy, inbox me and I will send one to you for free. Because this is knowledge that is so essential in nature at such a critical time in history where men are in need of a specialized knowledge. And I took the painstaking task of putting that burden on my shoulders because as I'm the #1 reader of this book, I was the one and still am the one most in need of the wisdom in this book. So once again, if you don't have a copy, please get it today. It is not for my profit. It is for your profit. Believe me when I tell you. Let me see. I don't think I did the honors of turning this over. Here you go. The Macadine, Essential Knowledge for Boys and Men. So, to my subject, emotions. Excuse me 1 second. Got this tea on. You know, I can speak for myself personally when it comes to emotions, especially emotions going awry. And every day, especially for the black man of America, it is a serious challenge to be emotionally balanced, to be emotionally sound and healthy, because there's so many things that are coming at us. And it's all men in general, but the so-called black man specifically, who has been under a unique yoke and unique oppression that has never been witnessed in the annals of history. And even the stories or the myths of the Bible dealing with the children of Israel, even that story doesn't match what the black man of America has gone through and is still going through in 2023. So I'm going to deal with the subject of emotions. And I know that everyone in this audience can relate to the power of emotions and how in the blink of an eye, our emotions could take us from heaven to hell, from peace to unrest, in the blink of an eye. In the blink of an eye. One small situation, one event where someone steps on your toe, says something wrong to you that rubbed you the wrong way, and a quick reaction to that offense or what you perceived as being an offense can absolutely ruin your entire life. I've been in prison because of emotions going awry. From me jumping the gun and just making a unthought decision to react to something that later on I looked back at and said, why the hell did I do that stupid shit? And I know that all of you can relate to that type of situation. But emotions. Most decisions, major decisions from marriage to buying a home is based on emotions. That's why 60 to 70% of black marriages fail, and the average American marriage fails at 50%, or 1 out of every 2, because we jump into that serious relationship, which is the most serious relationship you can ever be in, a marriage. We jump into it based on our hearts and our immediate feelings that dissipate within a year of the marriage, after all of the endorphins and the oxytocin and all the other hormones subside, and the honeymoon subsides, and then you are looking at each other and saying, damn, I really don't like you. As a matter of fact, I hate you. And before you know it, you're in divorce court, dividing stuff that you really couldn't even afford to have in the first place. So let's get to the book, because as you have probably noticed, over the last week or so, I've been quoting from the book, because I first and foremost am in need of the message in this book myself. I'm not just the one talking about the message. I'm the one doing my best every day to be a living example of the message of the Macadam, which means to regenerate and to exalt. But at its root, it means sovereign king and ruler. And the first one you got to be able to rule is yourself. You can't rule no one else if you have not first put yourself in a position to be ruled by self. You know? Look at my daughter back there going crazy. Camilla! It never fails. When a brother get on here, everything from the dogs barking to my daughter crying takes place. Where you at, sweetheart? So let me get into emotions. Chapter 31. I need you to sit right here and chill with me. Sit down right here. Thank you. Sit right there and chill with me. I appreciate it. I'm going to be done in a minute. Emotions. Men engage with respect and caution. Put on my glasses because I have a tendency to squint real bad. It begins by saying a quote by someone by the name of Matshana Dilwayo, which states, "If you cheat on reason with emotion, you will go bankrupt." Let me repeat that. If you cheat on reason, meaning common sense, meaning a cool head, thinking first. If you cheat on reason with emotion, you will go bankrupt. From her beginning, within the womb, the female has more circuits for communication and emotions than the male. From the fetus to adulthood, said circuits only increase and become more refined. The massive surge of estrogen she receives the first 2 years of her life, which is referred to as infantile puberty, gives her more of those circuits for communication, the ability to read emotions, social nuance, and nurturing skills. She's also able to utilize both sides of her brains. The surge of testosterone that the fetus receives at the 8th week, turning a fetus into a boy, does just the opposite. It cuts off the pathways to communication and emotion. We're dealing with the differences between the emotional makeup of the male and the female, which is really key to us getting along with each other. Come on, baby, be quiet. PET scans and MRIs reveal that women have 11% more neurons in the brain centers for language and hearing than men. The principal hub of both emotion and memory formation, the hippocampus, is also larger in the female, as is the brain circuitry for language and observing emotion. Men, by contrast, have 2.5 times the brain space in the brain devoted to sex drive, which gives you a hint as to why we are driven sexually the way we are. It's not that we're dogs, it's part of our nature, but it has to be put in check, or else you go from a god to what is spelled backwards, a dog. 3 sisters in the 1970s knew what they were doing when they named their singing group The Emotions. How many of us remember the group The Emotions? You Got the Best of My Love and different other hits that really are still cracking the day. You go to any R&B station that plays oldies, you will always hear the Emotions songs being played. Well, they understood that the woman's place of domain is, in fact, the emotions. Scientists have documented an array of structural, chemical, genetic, hormonal, and functional differences between women and men. For example, the menstruating woman in particular is literally a neural-emotional volcano with parts of her brain changing up to 25% a month. The menstruating woman's brain changes 25% a month. Yes, macadine, baby. That makes her more unpredictable than the weather. This is why we spell the word women in the macadine, not W-O-M-E-N, but W-H-I-M-E-N. Because that word women is after the word whimsical, meaning subject to erratic behavior or unpredictable change. This is not no stones being thrown at the woman. This is scientific based information. Due to man and woman's hormonal brain differences, etc., for sanity and survival, man must deal differently with emotional reality than a woman does with hers. To be an emotional success in business or whatever, and with women, man must be proactive daily in keeping his emotional self positively charged and outletted. Positively charged and outletted. How do we do that? How do you keep your emotions positively charged and outletted? I'm going to deal with that. Yes, ma'am. In the emotional realm, a man must be more thought than feeling. Let's say that again. In the emotional realm, a man must be more thought than feeling. Emotions are electromotive in nature. As a matter of fact, in psychology, we are taught that emotion stands for energy in motion, because emotions move you. In the words of that song by Rakim, when he was talking about move the crowd, emotions move people. Emotions could cause you to give life or to cause death. When an ignorant, non-thinking man is intoxicated by the arrows of love via a bad intended, as we call in the Macadine, a heroin or ditzy, it's going to be no doubt disastrous for him on some level. Said man becomes her Quasimodo, hunched and bent to her will emotionally. By this time, he's in the throes of lunacy. Freud said that lovers and madmen are one and the same. And you see it every day. From Tom Cruise, when he was on Oprah's show, dancing on couches, to men committing homicide and suicide. When you are in love, you're in a totally different brain state. You're not even in your right state of mind. So we're not saying to be alexithymic or apathetic or without emotion. But what we are saying and warning is have the utmost respect and caution when it comes to emotions. In the so-called occult and some religious circles, the woman is linked to the moon, which has a degree of truth to it. The woman's monthly cycle, called menstruation, derives from the word moon, which has a degree of truth to it. The woman's monthly cycle, called menstruation, derived from moon, corresponds with her monthly cycle revolution the moon makes around the earth every 27 to 29 days. Also in the word emotion, you have the word moon spelled in it. The word lunatic is also a word that has its root in moon, lunar. In one branch of the occult, the name Aphrodite, goddess of love and beauty, is spelled backwards, Etidorfa, and is called the mysterious midnight sun. The heart, the seat of emotion, is the mysterious midnight sun of man. And when left unchecked in a man's life, said mysterious midnight sun causes tidal waves of trouble and destruction in his universe. Can't we all bear witness to that? I have met men, when I was away, I met men who actually murdered their wives in that instantaneous emotional state that they regret till this very day. But now they're doing life sentences and they can't turn back the time. They can't turn back the hand of time and make it different. But every man that I met that even had a violent relationship with their women regret it because they know that it was emotional based. The reverse of the toxic emotion love that produces dodos and alfalfas and heroines and dizzies, etc., lunatics, is the true love referred to as agape love that sprouts from a man's acquaintance and relationship with love's essence residing dormant within ourselves. Think about that. That's part one. And speaking of someone being taken over by their emotions, a good example, our brother Tariq Nasheed was seen slapping a man today in front of his store who apparently got his emotions out of whack. And it's on video. And if this man takes it to court, takes it to the police, take it to the legal system, which is against us anyway, that man could lose everything. But that is the power of emotions gone awry. And I'm going to go into part two since we got a few more minutes. And it's a short chapter. But we want to deal with emotions and this energy that's in motion that if we're not careful, it will cause a commotion in our lives. Chapter 2, Emotions Part 2. Men, engage with respect and caution. Come on now. I'm almost done. There is only one journey, and that journey is going inside of yourself. Going inside of yourself. This is where all the problems are at. You know, and most of us have a tendency to objectify and deflect and project instead of dealing with the man and woman in the mirror who's causing 99.9% of all of our problems. Due to the larger brain spaces in the female dedicated to emotion, she's especially susceptible and overwhelmingly leads in the most outrageous possession and displays of hysteria. Once again, this is not talking against the woman. We're giving these truths about man and woman so that we can know each other and deal with each other wisely and effectively and most beneficial to ourselves and to one another. Hysteria is a Greek word for womb, based on the Greek notion that hysteria is peculiar to women by disturbance of the uterus. Hence the word hysterectomy, that is the removal of the uterus. Although not totally correct, the Greeks were onto something because when it comes to what is known as mass hysteria, the woman leads in all cases and as much as 10-1 over men. The earliest incidences of mass hysteria dating back to 1374 typically involve members of strict religious orders, often Catholic nuns, characterized by bizarre antisocial behaviors. For example, at Cambrai, France, a group of nuns in 1491 exhibited fits, yelped like dogs, and foretold the future. In Zante, Spain, 1560, nuns bleated like sheep, tore off their veils, and had convulsions in the church. At one French convent, nuns began to act like cats and meowed together every day at a certain time for several hours. There are many other historic accounts of religion triggering mental emotional lunacy in women, and present accounts as well. Let's look at the church. How they catch the Holy Ghost and run up and down the aisles and do backflips. This is the religious effect on the minds and brains, not just of women, but also men. There are also other historic accounts of religion triggering mental emotional lunacy in women. She's the ultimate example of the toxicity of religion, which is why men who lack the emotional fortitude that a woman possesses should totally abandon it. totally abandon religion. The sometimes insane effect that the monthly fluctuations of estrogen, testosterone, and progesterone has upon women has driven some to murder. In France and England, numerous women have been pardoned, as in cases of insanity, for this cycle period based rage that inspires some women to actually murder, which is called PMDD, premenstrual dysphoric disorder. It's called premenstrual dysphoric disorder. The aforementioned illustrations are not for the purpose of making mockery of women, not by a long shot. Once again, it's for understanding, but for the purpose of conveying the severity and gravity and of understanding and properly handling the potent powers of emotion within himself and herself. Most men, and I'm getting to you, brothers, most men are emotionally warped and weak, and women are aware of this. Women manipulate and oftentimes govern men via histrionics and other manipulative emotion-based tactics. See the Macadine glossary on Dizzy, the drama queen. A man should make it a point to get and be emotionally educated, purified, and healthy before getting emotionally involved and intimate with a woman. Otherwise, you are setting yourself up for failure, a failure that could be fatal. There are 6 major emotions: joy, peace, and love, sadness, anger, and fear. It's so imperative for a man to struggle with his entire being to penetrate and remain in the realms of joy, peace, and love, and get as far away as possible from sadness, anger, and fear. That's aside from their natural occurrence, for example, resulting from death of a loved one, injustice, etc., and the people who prefer to reside in their atmospheres. The key to ridding and draining oneself of the aforementioned negative emotions, sadness, anger, and fear, is via the act of emoting. Emoting. What is emoting? To emote means is to express emotional energy in a pure, physical, non-damaging way. Emoting sadness, anger, and fear does not involve cursing, blaming, or shooting ourselves or others. If expressed that way, the emotion will not pass through the body. It only becomes more stuck. Constructive emoting entails making physical motions and sounds, because emotions are wordless, energetic, internal sensations. If we indulge destructive thoughts and words, we only intensify the emotions that we are feeling. If everything makes you angry or sad, the reality is that external events are simply the triggers to those embedded emotions. Whenever someone gets to you and you blame them for taking you out of your character, it's not really them that took you out of your character. All they did was touch something and triggered something that's already inside of you, and they brought it out of you. They're not the ones that put it in you. They're only the ones that help give it expression, inspired and propelled you into being who and what and expressing who you really are. Emoting physically those negative energies so that they don't damage anyone or anything of value in your life. Exercise, pounding a heavy bag, wood chopping, cooking, laughter, sex, writing in one's personal library that we teach about are powerful means of emoting and inspiring joy at the same time. These acts also contribute to the necessary heart-brain awakening that's a must in order for a man to truly be successful. That is, pursuant to his design. Proper emotional management also aids in the purification and activation of the spine brain, which is referred to as the highway to the infinite self, and also the highway to inspire what they refer to as Kundalini. Positive emotions are the angels and Elohims of life, the key ingredients of enthusiasm, meaning in God, which is the essence of so-called miracles. The rewards that come with a healthy emotional life are boundless. It would be wise to do all you could do to befriend and be on the right side of this power. Emotions are indeed powerful. They move the world. They're like tidal waves. They're like the winds, the hurricanes, the tornadoes. All those things are representative of emotions. Hell is representative of emotions. And if we can control anything or get anything under control, that is the major thing for us to master, so that we don't end up in prison, don't end up without healthy relationships. You know, most people who are emotionally disturbed, so to speak, they're alone. They can't keep a relationship. They can't keep a friendship, because everything about the mindset is self-sabotaging. And the only way we can be successful is to master our emotions. Master your emotions. And it's a daily task. I don't care how much you think you know about emotions. If you are not on guard daily, watching yourself and feeding yourself the right emotional food, in time, you'll find yourself back in that emotional hell. And it's like, once again, it's an everyday task. You'll be up today. You'll be feeling good about yourself and everything seems to be going right. Then the next day, you find yourself back in the same emotional dump that you were striving to get out of and thought that you had accomplished remaining out of. But you never remained out of that possibility. Never. Because of the surroundings and everything that's in the American atmosphere. The news, everything around you is negative. That's inspiring negative thoughts, sadness, anger, and fear. That's all that's in the news. That's all that the neighbor talks about. That's all that you hear at work, is people on a negative side of the fence. So, once again, get your own personal library and feed yourself positivity. You have, and I have within us, the fuel to heal ourselves, to heal our emotions, to heal our past, and to heal our future. So with that being said, thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening. And I will be back to you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat station. Salute and peace. Thank you so much.